Welcome, property investors. This is the Building in Perth podcast with your two hosts, Chris Holland and Tony Hyde. If you're a property investor or you're curious about investing in property in Western Australia, this is the podcast for you. The reason for that is we're not going to hold back. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're certainly not going to bullshit you, and we're going to exploit everything that you need to know. Every month, we're going to have special guests on, industry professionals, and then we're going to release an episode every single Monday. So you're not going to miss anything. So please stay tuned, like and subscribe so you never miss anything, and enjoy.
Hi all, and welcome to our podcast Building in Perth with your host Tony Hyde and
Chris Holland.
This is a really special episode because this is our first ever episode of Building in Perth, and I'm absolutely pumped.
It's actually the second because yesterday we had the technical
glitch, so the second one, but it's the first published one. So, hey, Chris, going to tell us what the purpose of this podcast is?
Okay, so the reason for this episode, the podcast, we're going to talk about something every single Monday. We're going to release a new episode every single Monday. It's all going to be related to building. What we want to do is expose the myths of building, I would say, talk about the pros and cons, teach people just what we know in the industry. We're going to have a special guest, hopefully every single month, in like an industry specialized guest, not a fucking swimwear model or whatever.
Why not?
As well as
we could have some of them,
can do that. But yeah, look, basically this podcast is for anyone who's maybe an investor, thinking about investing, an experienced investor who's not dabbled in Western Australia yet, or maybe someone who just wants to build their own home for an investment, or even just to live in it. Because there's so many things and factors that come into building, and we're just here to be on your side or give you as much info as possible.
Right. So this episode today, it's going to completely cover off on the question being, why does my house take 2 years to build?
Yeah, and it shouldn't. There definitely are. There's probably 20,000 people in Western Australia right now that are experiencing a 2-year build time, and it's really sad. But we're here to pump your tires back up and let you know it doesn't have to be 2 years. I'm just going to say it. If you're building with BGC, it's going to take 2 years. That's no disrespect to BGC. We're going to get into this later on in the podcast, why it's taken 2 years. But essentially, it should not take 2 years to build a house. It is taking 2 years to build a house. But again, we'll go through that in detail.
Yeah, so let's go back to why it's taking. Let's start uncovering these reasons. So let's uncover these reasons of why it's taking 2 years to build, or the presumption of it is what's caused this building boom as such. So, like,
from a statistic point of view, there was a little virus that was floating about. Have you heard of it?
Oh, cold and flu or something.
Cold and flu 19.
Yeah.
So obviously that's impacted everything, to be honest. From the backlash of COVID-19, the government done the right thing, in my opinion, and gave like a stimulus package up to $45,000 for people. Plus the first homeowners grant. You know, some people were getting 65 grand off. So supply and demand, borders were closed, an influx of people building or paying to build a house. The majority of the market is owned by BGC. They just took on too much business. They don't have enough tradies, and people are now just sitting waiting, unfortunately. So I think it's a backlash of COVID-19, borders being closed, and then just a pure supply and demand. So many people were then purchasing blocks of land and building houses, but there's not enough tradies.
Yeah, so go back there, go right back to 1996 is where WA could only build about 12,000 houses a year, right? 12,000 I think it was.
On average, we've been building 11 to 12,000 per year since 1996, right? Consistently 12,000 a year.
And last year we signed
38,000, so nearly 3 times as much.
So it doesn't go in, right? And then with the same amount of trades, the same amount of supply, all that stuff, and it all has that massive hit-on effect. And
Perfect storm.
And every single part of it has an impact, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, just to recap, last year WA sold 38,000, 38, I think it was 39,000 homes or house and land packages. Well, the average prior to that for the last 20 odd years is 12,000. So it's more than 3 times the amount in 1 year, with no extra trades or material supply or anything like that. So obviously it's going to take longer to build houses.
Yeah. And then that comes down to the harsh facts of what happened is the media, I reckon, hammered the tradies. And it wasn't the tradies' fault. But the fucking prime example is Brickies, right? They got absolutely annihilated in the press.
Yeah.
You went viral on a post about it, and we'll go over in a minute. But like brickies a couple of years ago were getting like less than $1 a brick to lay a brick. If you ever fucking laid a brick, it's the hardest. You couldn't pay me enough to do it.
No.
Then all of a sudden they're getting offered $250 a brick, getting told to down tools in mid job, and getting $5,000 cash to move. This fucking happened. This actually happened. And then people are saying the brickies are greedy.
The brickies, I know. Yeah.
Think about it from another point of view. If you get offered more money to do the same job, and whatever you do, whatever profession, are you going to do it?
Of course, yeah, of course, 100%. I think it's embarrassing, brickies are good, man. Like, it's a tough gig. It's a really tough gig. Even a brickies labourer, it's one of the hardest jobs, if not the hardest, in construction. I think they deserve to get paid more, and I think what they're getting paid now is it's accurate. It reflects their skills. It's not easy laying bricks, but yeah, the media definitely pushed it on bricklayers are the cause of this. It's fucking ridiculous. No, it's the builders. it's as simple as that. It's the builders paying brickies more to come and lay for them or whatever.
Because these builders, they got fucking greedy. They overcapitalized. However you want to do it. It was about making money.
100%. Yeah.
And they've overcapitalized, and then they've had to do.
Not all builders.
Not all builders. Sorry, we'll go through that. Well, not all builders, but some of these builders have went and done this. Then started paying the brickies more money, or any trades that win them more money, which they're going to take. Which, makes complete sense. And then on the back end of it, where that price increase comes, who gets hit with the money?
The clients get shafted with price rises, that's right, yeah.
And again, we'll go through this again, the fucking perfect storm. It just constantly happens. And
unfortunately, it's the client that gets shafted. So their house now takes double the time to build. They're getting a price rise. The rent is going up because there's a demand for rentals. So landlords are taking advantage. And there was a ban on increasing your rent amount for, I can't remember how many, I think it was 9 months, 12 months that you weren't allowed to. But then as soon as that ban was up, everyone just fucked the rent up $50. So clients were getting shafted by the rent increasing, variations from the builder, and a delayed construction time. Now, a delayed construction time comes with its own negativity, because when you're building, part of your mortgage, you're paying interest only repayment. So you're not paying anything off the build, but you're still paying the bank. So obviously the longer that takes, the more wasted money that you're taking. So, and
you're paying rent as well at the same time, or you're paying a second mortgage, so you're getting double smacked.
You're getting shafted. Yeah, I do feel for them, but like, not all builders, you know what I mean? That's predominantly, I'm talking about BGC, and I don't mean to like slander them or anything. It's just, that's the facts. They overcapitalized. They were trying to sell the company, so they pumped their numbers up in terms of sales in order to sell it, and they've not sold it. So unfortunate. What I will go out and say in the opposite though, the Summit Group, unbelievable. I think they were the first builder to actually cut them, like stop taking in sales. It could have been as early as October, like when the grants happened, it was end of March. As early as October, when, builders were doing as many deals as they've ever done, ever. And Summit were the first, of my knowledge, to go, nah, no more. Mm-hmm. Adam Shaw, the general manager, he's brilliant, in my opinion. He said, nah, we gotta prepare for this backlash. We gotta prepare our back of house in order to still build houses at the correct amount of time, not hit people with price rises, etc. And I think more people could learn from how Summit as an organisation operate.
Yeah, so we spoke about BGC, and I think in W they're probably classed as the biggest builder.
They are.
They've got so for people that don't know, BGC are like a main brand, and they have like 9 brands, about 9 brands under them.
Yeah, there was. I mean, the biggest competitor was the Ventura Group, and BGC bought them, so they eliminated the competitor. So BGC are definitely the highest volume builder in WA, followed by ABN Group, which is Dale Alcock, Home Buyers Celebrations, and it used to be Webb Brown and Eves. They've then separated, and then the Summit Group. So ABN have been good, I think. Look, it's hard because builders are. It's hard. The tradies are expecting to build more houses. There is a material issue while trying to keep the customer happy and everyone else. So it is hard, but I take my hat off to how Summit handled it, and I think more people could learn from that.
Yeah, it's certainly like a good experience, that we've heard. And do your homework on your builders if you're ever going to build, but also take your time to go through things like Shonky Builders on Facebook if you've seen it, and watch the builders that are popping up regularly there. And you'll see them. It's I don't want to go and shop them here, but you'll see them quite quickly, or just Google, like, search their name in that Shonky Builders thing, and you'll find the builders in there, and it's you'll
cry
with that builder. But again, how do you? So not to make anyone scared, but how the fuck do you find the right builder? Like, what do you do to find that right builder?
There's a couple of options, like I said. So it doesn't have to be. It's not a 2-year build time.
Yeah.
It's not. Let's clear that.
So what's the average then? Right now,
12 months.
And is that from what part?
From slab down.
Okay.
From slab down. If you're thinking about building or investing and you need help, I think the best opportunity is to go and see a builder broker. So it's like a mortgage broker, but they shop the builders on your behalf. They'll look at things like how much indemnity insurance the builder's got left, if they got consistent supervisors who aren't fucking changing every 2 months because they're getting overworked. What's the build time? Well, what is the build time? What are the last 50 houses that they've handed over? How long did they take to build? Stuff like that. Is the quality of work good? How many negative reviews are there? Has there been any price increases? Stuff like this. A builder broker is, I think, it's the new way to build houses. It's like a buyer's advocate, where you tell them you want a 4x2 in Richmond, and it's got to have a pool, and you leave them, and these guys go out and they search the market. It's the same type of thing. You tell them what you want in the house, where you want it, and they can put everything together. So because this is the first episode, obviously full disclosure, that's what me and Tony do. That's one of our companies, is a builder broker. We've been doing it for 3 years now. Helped literally hundreds of clients, and most, I would say all clients have been happy with our service. So, but there's lots of us now. We were one of the first builder brokers in Perth, but I don't know, there must be at least like 40 at the moment. But yeah, a builder broker would be what I recommend clients go and speak to, or do your homework yourself. Ask the hard questions. Can you get a guarantee in the contract that it's only going to take 10 months or 12 months or whatever? Can't get a guarantee. Get something in writing from someone of some stature in the organisation.
Absolute shameless plug here. The house and land experts that should be around here somewhere. Go over and give us a follow and like on all your regular socials. Definitely. Yeah, going back to like the build times, right? So there are builders out there offering 9-month build times, 10-month build times. There's a couple of questions that I would be asking them. Firstly, 9 months from slab down, but when am I getting to slab? Because it may be a 9-month build time, but it could be 8 months to get to slab. Remember, you're still going. That's then it becomes an 18-month build, right? You need to ask those questions. Make sure when you see these 10-month and 9-month builds, you're probably going to find that you're not allowed to customize it too much. Change the design. It's probably going to be like more structure, and Chris, explain why they won't change it.
So basically, the builders have a whole heap of designs. Most builders will have 20, 25, 30 standard base models, they're called. They'll have a price associated with it, and what happens is when you start modifying that design, you have to get re-engineered. So basically, the cost could increase or decrease. Normally, it increases. So therefore, there's a lot of extra work that has to be done. You have to redo the set of plans for a start, put them back for the engineers, get them re-CDC'd, put them for energy, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff that happens prior to the slab going down, which is just education. As long as the client has educated this from the sales consultant, most clients are pretty understanding that this process can take 4 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months. You've got finance issues. The client has an obligation as well to do their part in obtaining finance at the right time. Again, if they're not explained this, the builder has the right to increase the price, which is crap, but it's true. On top of that, the land might not be titled. Some people have actually came to us afterwards saying, I didn't understand, I bought an untitled block of land. What is that? So for people that don't know, it means that block is not available yet. It's not registered with Landgate. We can't build on it. So there's many factors, and I would call that the pre-construction phase. Yep. So it should take 3, 4, 5 months. And then your slab goes down. So when we talk about 12-month build times or 9-month, it's from the slab down. But yeah, the more customization of the plan, the longer that early process will take. Not the actual construction, the pre-construction process will take.
And you're a builder, Chris, registered builder, have been for a while now. Talk to us about indemnity insurance. I mean, I know what that is, and people in the industry will, but some people don't know how important having the right indemnity insurance, because we've seen builders over recent year fall over because of this actual issue. It's
a question that like an educated buyer would ask, and I wouldn't say many people know about it. So what indemnity is the bank loans the builder the money to build your house, basically. Now, given the stature and the assets of that builder, QBE or the bank will loan a certain amount. So for a new builder, it could only be as little as $2 million. So what that means is, If I've got $2 million worth of indemnity and my houses all cost 200,000, I can only build 10 houses at a time. When I hand one over, I can start a new one. Yep. But I can only build 10 at a time if they're all valued at 200,000. This is important because bigger companies where clients are signing up with mid-tier companies, let's say, they could be maxed on their indemnity, but they're not. No one's going to tell them that. The sales consultant's certainly not going to tell you that unless you ask the question. So you could sign up and he could be promising you the world that you're going to get a 10-month build time, but the truth is they might not have any indemnity left. There might be 20 million of indemnity out of date type of thing. Oh, sorry, exhausted their indemnity. It's a really good question to ask, and it's really important because you physically cannot get a building permit when you've maxed out your indemnity insurance. So that's a really good question, and that's something to be careful if you're going through these smaller builders. Not all builders. All builders need indemnity insurance, bar two, BGC and the Prime Group, as far as I'm concerned. The reason for that is they own that much assets that the bank will give them endless amount of borrowing. That's my understanding of it. There could be more, but from right now, I understand there's only 2 builders in Perth that have unlimited indemnity.
Yeah, so just for me as well, to understand that, if you go and sign with one of these builders and they say, oh, we don't, and they're maxed on indemnity insurance, if you're like number 14 or 15 in that build queue, you've got to wait for another 14 or 15 houses to be built before you go in. So it's just important to make sure that you ask those questions. If the rep and all them guys don't know it, ask the question. And again, another real point for coming and speaking to a builder broker, we'll be able to, we'll on your behalf, will go and ask that tough question, and we'll already know where they're at anyway.
That's right.
So, and if they don't, guys, pack up your stuff, put your pen in your fucking bag, and fucking run. Run. And that takes me into, like, if you're uncomfortable with a sales rep, into the display homes and stuff like that, just these guys, I'm not taking anything away from them, that's what they're there to do. But if you're walking a display home and they're offering you to sign something and take money, I'm telling you, if you do anything, stop and go, hold on a minute here, I'm fucking out.
The thing is, I mean, like, in this market, the topic is 2-year build times. How long is this going to take to build? These sales consultants are, not all of them, we can't label them all the same, but they're ruthless. They don't give a fuck. Like, as soon as they sign you up, take that deposit, they've made their commission. These guys are on commission only. They work hard. They do a lot of crap and unsociable hours. Very rarely you get a good sales consultant that's going to be upfront with you and go, do you know what, guys, I can give you this package. I'm going to sign you up at this price. The chances are I'm going to hit you with a 25 grand increase, and you're going to wait 6 months before we even get close to your building permit. I mean, if someone says that to you, you're going to turn around and go, sorry, mate, I'll go next door where they can help me.
Yeah.
It's very unauthentic way of selling. What really happens is, mate, we're the biggest company, and BGC still say it. We're the biggest company. We built the most houses, but we've got the experience. Blah blah blah. We can guarantee X amount of build time. The sales consultant doesn't give a fuck, man. So basically, unless you're not in a rush, then go for it. Go through display villages or whatever. Otherwise, I think it's better to seek someone independent who will work on your behalf.
Absolutely. Again, with the sales reps, a lot of time you get handed off to the admin, to the construction manager, supervisors. Your broker, you build a broker. They should. I'm not saying they all do. We certainly do this. Is we're with you every step of the way. Right up to PCI, as much as you need, as little as you need. If you're comfortable with the builder, great. If not, we're there to fight all those hard fights for you. That's what we'll do.
100%.
For you, right? That's what they should do, because it's customer service, right?
Well, that sales consultant is getting paid a commission only basis, and he gets paid, normally when the slab goes down. So it's 6 months after you've signed that contract, he gets paid. So he needs to get another signature and another signature and another signature. But the truth is, with these guys, they sit in a beautiful big display home where clients come to them, or they get given a lead sheet that they call these clients who have inquired to the company. You're not really a name. You're more of a number, to be honest. It's a numbers game. It's like, all right, if I call 30 people, I'll get 2 appointments. I might sign one up. It's 30-1 ratio. A builder broker, it's a personal relationship. You have to meet them. You have to talk to them. You have to understand their needs, wants. You go different builders. You change different designs. Budget's important, but more importantly, there's no running away, because your name name gets tarnished. If the sales consultant does the wrong thing by a client, that's all good. You're not going to say, oh, Jimmy, the fuckwit. You're going to talk about the building company, and they've got that much manpower and marketing power. It doesn't matter. You just get pushed out the way. So I think it's very important, you deal with someone who's got a history of of sticking with the client. Now there are these sales consultants. They're not all the same. There are people in the industry that have been loyal and really good to clients and still keep in communication with them and attend the PCIs and buy them bottles of wine at handover. This is really important. So not everyone is the same, but I would say a large majority, 90% maybe, are fuckwits.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Fucking true.
I know it is.
True,
man. We've been through display homes with clients and we just fucking shake our heads and go, Jesus, wow, did you just ask that?
It's uncomfy.
It's actually uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable and we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
So, and again, before you sign on a dotted line, like, these are the questions to ask. Make them uncomfortable because they don't know the answers. They need to find it, or they don't know it, and you're going to have a bad time.
Good bit of advice is ask someone else who's built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ask one of your mates. So if you don't have any mates, ask your mum and dad's mates, or your cousin, or your fucking whoever. Because someone that has built will 100% have feedback. They'll go, "Fuck, nightmare! Don't do this." And it's normally negative. It's normally, "Oh, we get rushed into that," or "I wish we changed that." So many things when the whole point of building a fucking house is designing it yourself.
Yeah.
Don't buy one of these off-the-shop fucking plans unless you love it. But 9 times out of 10, there's things there that you can change that will suit your lifestyle better. You know what I mean? Plumb your fridge in. Like something so similar as that. Or you wait till fucking pre-start and they sting you $800. Like, fuck off. Like, it's not built yet. Just include it early on.
Double shower, get it
double
done
shower,
before these things. But
Whatever.
Again, we're going to go through that in another tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And then, big topic that we get spoken to us a lot, especially when people are in that construction, is our supervisor. The site supervisor. Supervisor, the guys that look after your building the trades. Chris, you've been through this journey a million times. You're probably better experienced to talk about.
I've been a supervisor. I was a trainee at Content Living. I've supervised for Niche Living. I've supervised for the ABN Group. I've supervised for a couple of smaller companies. What a kind of a job, man. Like an absolute nightmare of a job. You basically just get fucking worked to the core. So I would say 25 to 30 homes at a time is a decent number for a supervisor to run with. So what that means is if I live near Baldivis, let's say, I could have the Baldivis corridor for Dale Alcock. And I've got 25 houses to build, which means I've got to have 25 sets of tradies that I employ to build these houses. It's all on me. It's not the tradies because I'm employing the tradies, right? But these guys are running at 45 at the moment, like nearly double the capacity. And it's hard work because then even the supervisor has to then talk to the clients and speak to them and chat to them and explain what's happening. And you've got the clients calling you, you've got the trades calling you because the office doesn't pay on time because they're fucked, because the cash flow is fucked because they've took on too much business. So supervisor's a horrible job actually at the moment. And what supervisors are doing, they're just getting up and leaving. They're jumping to another company for an extra $10 an hour or whatever, 10 grand a year, sorry. A better car, less, everyone gets promised less jobs, but it never happens. So supervisor is important, and I would love, before you sign with a company, speak to the supervisor. Now, they will be able to tell you. They're going to say, well, we don't know who it is yet. They fucking do, because how supervisors work is they work in territories or locations. So it's very easy to figure out who your supervisor is going to be. And just ask the question. Like, just say, before I sign this, I want to speak to the supervisor. When you speak to the supervisor, say, how's it going? What do you think? And he'll be fucking honest because he ain't a salesman. You know, he's normally a brickie or a chippy who's now doing supervising because his back's fucked or he's fell off the roof. So that's the truth. So speak to the supervisor. You know, some of them have fucking 2 teeth and they wear flip-flops. You know what I mean? Like there's a guy called Wes that's a supervisor that I fucking can't stand. He smokes dope and whatever. And like he should never be there. But people have just employed people because they can't get people to cope with the workload. So the supervisor's so important.
So ask them how long they've been at the company, how many jet builds they've got. That's probably your 2 main ones. And what experience has he got? Yeah. He's all been here for 2 months. Where were you before that?
If you take drugs.
If he's taking drugs in front of you, just maybe ask for some, but then just don't use him as a supervisor.
If his name's Wes, fucking run, right? That's all I'm saying. I won't go any further. But supervisor's important. Supervisor's important.
So that's probably the main thing. So when you're actually going to pick a builder, that I would say is that the ones you want to go is, like looking at the build times, reviews, indemnity insurance, and the supervisor. Those things, if they all line up, you're probably on a winner, right? And as long as it's honest.
I've just thought of one. Just sorry to cut you off. No. A good one is figure out past clients. So go on testimonials. You know, every builder brags about their testimonials on their social media. Find a testimonial. Find that client. DM them. Message them and say, how was your actual experience with home buyers or whoever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Go and speak to these clients, because people are not scared of giving away that information. If they've had good or bad experience, hopefully it's good. And then, but don't listen to the fucking sales consultant. You know what I mean? Go and actually speak to these people, because you're talking about, especially nowadays, $300,000-$400,000 investment. It's worth doing a little bit of research, or just go to a builder broker, and that's kind of all taken care of for you.
300, 400,000. Do you mean prices have increased in the last 18 months to 2 years?
Just a little bit, maybe 30%.
You were mentioning the other day about a client you had and how much it cost to build their house. You have to tell that story, because
Very good.
We're just down south 20 odd minutes ago. Tell the story, because it's
25 minutes south of Perth, in a beautiful little estate next to where I live personally. I sold 8 or 9 on this one street. Like, that's how much I was keen for this area, and it's up and coming. But one of the first clients, it's funny because at the end of it, as she was getting frustrated at the time that it was taking to build, we nearly got our keys in 10 months, and she was really complaining that this is a joke, nothing's happening. And I was like, man, fucking look around, you know what I mean? 2 years, 10 months. It ended up taking 12 months before she got the keys. It did drag on a little bit at the end, corner blocks and fencing and retaining, blah blah blah. But anyway, 12-month build time, $300,000, house and land, 3x2,
with all the trimmings.
25 minutes from the CBD, 1 minute from the freeway, 5 minutes from Coburn, 50 minutes from the ocean. 300,000, house and land, aircon, stone bench tops, flooring, like everything. Not an investor spec. So that's gone. Like, we can't do that anymore, unfortunately. But the same house now would be 430 minimum.
But
that was a year ago.
Yeah, no,
that was with VGC. That was with VGC. Just to show that was just perfect timing.
Yeah.
And they were offering a cheap price for a good quality product with no issues. Their building inspector didn't pick up anything. That was before it went really busy, really big. So yeah, that was VGC, and they were good.
And that's relevant to today, what's happened through the things we just spoke about, the COVID and the supplies. But on that, Perth's still one of the cheapest cities in Australia to build in. And this is what people need to get their head around. It's still fucking super cheap here compared to the other states. People slag Byford and Sienna Woods and all that. There's still only like 35 minutes for the city, right? The investors, and we've got people from over east going 35 minutes for the city, don't care, and buying them, and just, it's madness. And we're growing. There's 20,000 people coming in. Look at the mining industry. They can't get enough people to do the jobs. I know I saw a thing in the shared the other day. W Police have went back over to Europe to recruit all the cops again, they did like 10, 12 years ago, because they can't get the staff because everyone's going to the mines. It's happening. There's not enough, and the thing is, there's not enough houses, so people are building investment properties because we have to and do it. So
there's not enough rentals. That's right.
It's and this isn't going to slow down for.
No.
So how long is it going to last for, Chris? How long is this boom time?
I think another 2 years. Normally, it's an 8-year cycles. Historically, that's what happens with booms. It's like there's high peaks and low peaks, and it's every 8 years roughly. I think we've got another 2 years of it. I think this is a bigger boom than the last one that we had, purely because the amount of pending jobs that have been signed up. There's no any more tradies to build it as such. Obviously when the borders open, I thought there was going to be a real big influx of tradies from the East Coast. But the truth is, their borders opened before ours, and their restrictions laxed pretty easily, pretty quickly. I mean, we cruised through COVID. We were lucky in WA. But why would they move? Why would they move from eastern states to here? Because they had the same grants. So the building time in this 24-month build time is 36 months in Sydney. You know what I mean? And you've got to be 3 hours out of Sydney, and you're still paying $700,000.
And the trades have got plenty of work over there, so why come here?
That's right.
That's it.
UK, like obviously we're both from the UK, and we have a lot of following here from the UK. But there's a lot of building and stuff like that back home as well. So I think it's another 2 years before it slows down, to be honest.
And the infrastructure, the stuff that's coming to Perth. The other day, if you watch the news, the nuclear submarines, I saw that on the news. The Garden Island, which is just down in Rockingham there, that's a Navy base. They've just got the rights to build nuclear subs, right? So if you want to understand, and we'll go into another episode, but the DHA, which is the Defence Housing Association, we're not doing that.
We'll talk about that.
It's another story, but there's why you should invest. These are the reasons why, and this is another podcast. But the growth that's happening in Perth is phenomenal. and it needs to be capitalised, you can, right?
Ty, Ken, Cassandra, clip this, right? This is an advertising docket right here. Guaranteed 9-year rent return. At the end of the 9 years, they clean, redo the floor and repaint it, everything, and it's above the current market value, and it's a fixed price rent return for 9 years. So just to say, if we build a house in a specific way, designed to a specific company's needs and wants, they will rent it for 9 years guaranteed. And then there's no property maintenance, there's no property management. They take care of all of that. You literally just get an income for 9 years every single week, regardless if it's rented or not. The thing is, it's got to meet a couple of we've got to tick certain boxes, which is great because we're building the fucker. So we've already got these designs made that comply, I guess, in these locations. And I'll give you a clue. It's near the Navy base or the submarines and all that stuff. So that's it. Anyway, unclip.
Clip. All right, cool. So yeah, there's massive amounts of growth, so much opportunity, especially for that investor spec.
Do you know how much it is to live in Sydney or Melbourne?
Like 3.5 mil, some shit.
It's like it's like within you can't get anything for less than $1 million within like an hour of the CBD.
Whatever's in your spare account, probably that's how much it costs.
No, I'm in Brisbane. But you know, like all these places, Yanchep and all this that we're talking about, Rocky on Port Kennedy, they're all within an hour of the CBD, and they cost literally $40 like to build a house. It's fucking a block of land on the ocean costs $34. It really does. And then you build a house on top of it. Your mortgage is about $3 a week. Compared to 1 hour out of Sydney, Melbourne, or Brisbane, you know what I mean? Gold Coast, like my mate Royce is in Gold Coast. I was over there 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he just bought this brilliant little apartment 20 minutes out of Gold Coast, which is an hour south of Brisbane, so an hour and a half from Brisbane. $580,000 for a 2x1, no bedroom, no pool, one parking spot, and I'm just like, that gets you a fucking 450 square meter block in Port Kennedy on a golf course with ocean views. I know. For a 4x2 with maybe a pod, like, fuck off, you know, like Perth is still so
it's
cheap.
Crazy. Like one of my mates that we play golf with was he's a glazier. He from Penrith.
Smashing job.
Yeah, fucking Penrith, right?
No smashing.
No. Just went over my head there, that one, didn't it? He's the same, was wanting to try and buy in Penrith, couldn't done it, so he moved his family here, lives in Secret Harbour, and he's like doubled his size of house and all that stuff. It's the exact same, it's mental.
Cost of living, style of life, Perth's got the best weather in the whole universe.
Perth, it's too cold. Golf courses are rubbish.
Yeah, golf courses are, yeah.
So the fix. What's your expert advice, Chris?
So I think there's still deals to be made. The last year and a half were probably not the best time to build. But everyone's circumstances are different. People may have had to build. There might have been separations or divorces or whatever. So these grants were too good to ignore. But the last year or so was probably not the best time. But now the dust has settled. Builders are on top of things, except BGC. Builders are on top of things. They're guaranteeing build times again. And sorry, BGC. Now's a really good time, but you just got to be educated. You just got to understand what you're getting into. Learn from the mistakes of the last 18 months. So the fix is, if you're still interested in doing it, and again, this is probably more for investors, but just pay someone that's good at their job to do it, like a builder broker, you know, like get someone who's in the industry, in the know, or do it yourself. You know, I've came across many clients that are very research driven and stuff, but again, where are they getting this information from? So sit down with us or anyone. There's loads of builder brokers, but sit down. It costs you nothing for a consult for 45 minutes, an hour, and at least at that end of that hour, you'll leave having some questions or some guidance on where to go. But don't just fucking plot about the display homes and looking at the beautiful home, because they're stunning, and you get sold on the house. You forget the location, you forget the budget, you forget this because of how beautiful they make these display homes. So I guess the fix is go to a builder broker. That's what I would really suggest. I mean, you can look at the established market as well, but you're just inheriting someone else's fuck ups and issues. I mean, people are saying the quality of builds are shit now. Fuck me. If you walked into some of these houses 20 years ago, you know, and fuck off. And then there's another 30 grand just to fucking get the thing to building code. So that's another thing.
Look at the fix we had to do in my mum's house. Massive house, and the roof we had to fix because it was shoddy 20 odd years. Like so it's there, right?
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, at least building and stuff. And if you get an independent consultant, you get what you want. I think another thing that you can do, I mean, we have an in-house architect that works for us personally. Not all companies do. They normally use the builders draftees. Yeah. But maybe spend a bit of money if this is going to be a forever home rather than investment. Because an investment, I recommend spending zero money, as little as possible, and get as much money back. But if this is your forever home that you're thinking about building, maybe go to an independent designer and get your plans done properly. But get the land first. That's crucial. 100%. Get the block of land first. Get an idea of what you want, so we can give you a budget. Like, this house is going to be 400,000. Then you know roughly where you're sitting for your mortgage. But maybe go to an independent designer. Pay a couple of grand, get a few different concepts. Spend some time, maybe go for the display homes, get floor plans, but customize it, make it yourself. So the fix is go to a builder broker, I think.
Yep. 100%.
Or be really researched.
Okay. Yeah, do your homework, build a broker, hashtag the house and land expert. That's what I would say. I would go there if that was you. How long till build times are back to normal?
Now. They are now.
Back to normal?
If you go to the right builder, now. Like, we are building, CC West are building in 6 months, less. We've got 2 handovers in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4.5, 5 month build time. So, now they are back to normal. Again, with smaller builders, you pay normally a little bit more premium, but in return, you're not getting subcontractors coming in. Like, all our trades are employees, so we can dictate the speed of the build. But there's many builders like that. There's lots of niche builders that are. I think you'll get a better experience, but you are going to pay 30, 40 grand more.
Yeah.
But I think build times are back to normal as of now, except from BGC. ABN Group, I've got a good working relationship with them and Summit, and they're still guaranteeing under 12 months.
Yep.
So, 3/4 of the main builders are back to normal.
Yep. So everyone's taking all nicely. Just
really sorry for the clients that did sign up with BGC. Really sorry.
Some people got absolutely fucked over, man. Big time.
Yeah, and I think they're all kicking themselves. But look, at the end of the day, if it's a first home, the advice I would say is at least you're getting into your own place.
Yeah.
Stay on top of the build, stay on top of the supervisor, get yourself an independent building inspector to make sure it's built correctly. That's imperative. But things are coming back. And BGC are still selling houses, so people are still building with them because of the price point that they can offer. So we're not out of it yet, but definitely the 2 year thing I think is pretty much gone, except for the existing clients.
And we've seen prices stabilise. We've not seen any like the base prices coming up for the last probably 6 or 7 months now. So they're pretty much stabilised. So we can see that the fact that the prices are stabilising and that there's guarantees of build times coming out, we know that we've turned the corner. It's just a case of getting through this backlog. Well, sorry, BGC getting through their backlog, because all the other guys are pretty much on it, right?
No, and when we we're talking about thousands of jobs here at once. So when we say pretty much, obviously there's going to be a few here and there that are still taking longer, but for the best part, I think we're back to 12 months.
And if you don't agree, let us know in the comments, because we
100%.
love all feedback, good, bad, negative. If you don't agree with stuff, let us know. We're happy to discuss it.
One thing I will say, like, I heard on the radio, Wow Homes, which is a company I worked for when I first joined the industry, they're offering a fucking like a cruise. So like they're paying, I think it was a 10 grand cruise or something like that, if you build with us, and a guaranteed build time of 10 months or something like that. So companies are fucking ramping up their sales tactics again, and if they're guaranteeing this, then they can back it up. They're not gonna obviously that's built into the house price, just so we're clear, right?
Yeah.
There's no one's getting free cruises. You're paying for it just for your mortgage.
You don't get 80,000 of inclusions for free, by the way.
Whole
just
Group
so you
WA,
know.
that's my favourite. $80,000 kitchen. Okay. All right.
No, it doesn't.
By the way, all Home Group WA's kitchens are from China. There's no modification, just another.
You get what you're given. That's why they're so big. They all look great.
Blueprint, same thing. So beautiful kitchens from China. But that's nothing wrong with Chinese kitchens.
So any final thoughts for us, Chris?
Don't be scared. Just do your research. Don't be scared. Shonky builders will scare you. I know we've told you to look at shonky builders. It will scare you, but just understand, people writing these comments and stuff have got a lot of emotion. It's a good place. Go to forums. But I think building industry is pumping along pretty strong now. I wouldn't be scared of it. Definitely seek advice from a professional in the industry that's not backed by one brand. Okay, that's one thing that we did miss. There's a lot of people in the industry that have a name or a Facebook page or whatever, but they actually get paid by this one company who promote them. So for instance, there's a bloke, Damo the Tradie, right? He's a cabinet maker. He claims to be this building professional, you know what I mean? And that like nice bloke and all that, but he's backed by La Vida, one company. So just my advice is go to someone independent. You know what I mean? If I'm going to a car yard now, I don't go to Toyota, I don't go to Kia, I go to Car Giant, where they've got them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see everything going, is that sort of someone that looks after all the umbrellas. So yeah, just get advice. Don't rush, because you're not missing out on any fucking deals anymore. You know that the rush is over with the grants. So just take your time and shop around. You'll get a good deal.
Absolutely agree. And our gear's pretty good. So we've got hats. I think they're pretty smart. If you want them, I think $150 is about a decent price. I think for one.
250.
250 and you get a hug for Chris.
I tell you what, the first 10 comments get 10 free hats. There you go.
10 free hugs.
That's just me and you commenting back and forth. Yeah.
I know.
Tony,
all right, guys. Well, look. Let's say we're going to be doing these weekly. Like, subscribe, share, let everyone know, comment. We want to hear everything.
Yep.
And thanks for listening.
Cheers.
Bye.